Hey Capricorn, this one's for you. Okay? That's you, Capricorn. This is Tarot Lumination, and this is your love and relationship report for July 2017. Okay? It's all about you, it's all about the other. And please watch the introduction video, because otherwise it'll take me a long time to explain how the spread works and why we do it this way. And also, number 2, watch for your sun, moon, and rising. Also, if you really want to get into it, watch the other playlist video about behind the scenes, okay? So, Capricorns, this is not an astrology channel, you know, but I got to tell you, you are one of those signs that are really kind of getting hit. And this is that time of year, which is like your solar opposite, so to speak, when the sun and all those other planets are in Cancer right now, which is very, very strong. That's in your solar 7th house of significant relationships. So you might be really feeling the energy of relationships very strongly this month, in one form or one way or another. Also, dear Capricorn, you're one of those signs, the cardinal signs, like Cancer and Libra and Aries, and you're under the influence of this big monster T-square. Some people are even including it as a grand cross, okay? And there's no way out. You just have to deal with it. And it's very challenging energy, and you're a tough cookie, Capricorn. You can handle it, okay? All I'm saying is that I'm very aware from here, this side of the screen at Tarot Lumination, that Capricorns and Cancers in particular seem to be under a lot of pressure. Libra and Aries too, but in particular, Cancers and Capricorns. So I'm just letting you know, okay? Also, by the way, there's a new moon at the end of June, and there's a full moon early July, like I think it's the 9th or something. You're going to really feel that one too, in the context of significant relationships, okay? No way out of it. So, is it career and family, home and career, significant other, or yourself? How are you going to balance all these things out? It's tough, okay? You might feel stretched and pulled in multiple directions. Anyway, we're going to read now. Enough jibber jabber. All right, here we go. I shuffled already before we even rolled, okay? But I just do it right up to the last second so that you, Capricorn, are a witness. No reversals, no flyers, no jumpers, no oracles. Stripped down bare bone tarot. Okay, that's all we got here. That's all we do. And maybe one day it'll change, but for now, that's all we got. We're going to cut. Okay, we're going to do a weird cut to break up the energy. And then we're going to roll. Look at that. Woo! Okay, things are already getting wobbly. Let's have a look. What else did I missed something? Oh yeah, read for your sun, moon, and rising. That's it. Okay, you've done this before. All right, here we go. Let's say this is you. Let's say this is a significant other. Let's say going deeper inside of you, going deeper inside of a significant other. Let's say this is the status of the relationship itself, and this is like where things can lead, okay? Now, I'm trying to show you this in the shape of a crucible, referring to the little introduction video. It's on the understanding we're dealing with the energy of a significant relationship, a chosen relationship, where parties are involved and they are sharing energy deliberately. Now, if you're single, you can still make some use out of this reading, because either way, you're relating and radiating energy that includes the energy of relationship anyway. You might not be aware of it, because if you're thinking and wanting a relationship and you don't have one, you're going to be radiating the energy of relationship anyway, and you will be triggering some kind of response in a significant other somewhere out there, even though they might not be in your exact vortex energy field at this moment in time. And their energy can be reflected over here, even though they might not exist in your physical world at this moment. Okay, so I had to get that out of the way. All right, in the background, we have some supporting weather. So despite the challenges in July, Capricorn, if, let's just say you're one of those Capricorns and you're fully aware of what's happening, you understand the intense pressures of this grand T-square, this grand cross even, and somehow or other you're managing to deal with it, and you've been dealing with it for a long time, because Capricorn, you've been having to deal with the big long-term Pluto transit in your house of self, the first house. So you're constantly going through evolutionary changes, big changes, but in a very, very slow manner. So in the background, you might have very supportive weather that indicates like, okay, no matter how hard it gets, I'm actually dealing with it pretty well. In fact, I'm almost like, it's almost like I want to toast myself. I want to toast myself, and I want to hang out with my buddies to share with them and let them know, like, you know, it's amazing that we've made it this far, people. It's absolutely freaking amazing. In fact, it's about time we had a drink and just toasted each other, especially me, dear Capricorn, that I've made it this far. It's freaking amazing. So that's very supportive energy, very supportive conditions, like weather, like the spiritual, whatever you want to call it, the weather. It's just out there, and you just make the best of it. And from your perspective, it looks like you have made a decision to make the best of it, and up to the point where it's actually, no matter how challenging it is, you're determined that you're going to make the best of this July, okay? And actually, that's a very good decision to do, to take advantage of these extreme polarities as they are happening right now. Treat it as a really, really golden opportunity to address issues inside of love and relationship. Let's have a look. Where are you? Who are you right now? Maybe you are just getting exactly what you wished for. Maybe things in some inkling, tiny little way are starting to show signs of working out. Doesn't necessarily mean it's all worked out yet or all figured out, but you might be getting a glimpse that you're getting what you wished for, what you dream of, what you would like to have. Okay, it's just like, it's almost like you don't want to get too carried away with all of this. This is a lot of very yummy, fun energy to start coming into the reading, but something inside of me is saying, okay, okay, that's great, Capricorn. Maybe you feel like things are actually kind of okay in some way, and you might be getting one of those like those moments, like, you know, when you're in a constant, unending, unrelenting storm type situation where it's just one storm after another. It goes through a lull, and then another storm comes in, and then another storm comes in. You might be in one of those positions during July, even though you're at a point of maximum polarity in your relationship dynamics with yourself and a significant other. It might be happening in such a way that at least part of it is good news, good for you. It's almost like, even if it's like bad news, it's good. Even if it's just like, oh well, it's just like, I'm trying to explain this the way I'm feeling it, but it's hard to put it into words. What I'm trying to explain is like, even though it might have been really hell and challenging, and maybe this horrible thing happened and that horrible thing, and I had to deal with that horrible situation with that person and the one I love, and it was just a grind and it was horrible, horrible. The realization is like, I'm actually doing pretty well because I'm actually alive and I actually got through it to this point, and yeah, there's more to come, and I'm getting what I wished for. It's almost like what you wished for is just to survive. Okay, so that's cool if you can do that, and that's one of the beauties about polarity and opposition. When you get maximum polarity and maximum opposition, that is almost like a wish come true, because finally you get to be in a position where there's no distortion. In other words, like, you're not on one of those crazy fairground wacky mirror type of, you know, booths where you walk into the room, you give them $1, you walk in, and they show you this crazy mirror, and it makes your head look like it's the size of a peanut, and then your body is the size of a whale, and then your legs are all skinny, and then your feet are huge. It's not that at all. It's like you're in a situation where you're getting an absolute flat, straight, pure, clear mirror during July, and you can see everything for exactly how it is. All the good, all the bad, all of it. And that's a relief. It's just like, finally, I can get to grips with what's actually going on. I've been wanting that. I've been needing that. I need to see it. I need to feel it. And I need to like soak it up and revel in it and enjoy that. And because it doesn't happen very often. It only really happens once a year if all you have is in your life the chance of understanding yourself through the transit. Now, if you're in a long-term committed relationship, you're always getting a certain degree of reflection. If you're if you are in a relationship with a squared sun sign, for example, like I don't know, an Aries or a Libra, you might be learning a lot about yourself through conflict or challenge. If you're in an opposition with a Cancerian, you'd be looking through a lot of direct reciprocation, and so on and so on. If you're with a trine like a Virgo or a Taurus, you might be learning and loving through harmony. But either way, it's through the process of relationship, and through July, you might be getting exactly the kind of reflections back from a significant other that you need in order to feel a degree of happiness inside of yourself. Like, even if it's all the crap that you needed to know about yourself and your relationship, that's still good news. Actually, that's the point that I was trying to get to about 10 minutes ago. Anyway, what about the other? Let's have a look. Doing. Okay. Whoa. Ouch. So you might be dealing with a significant other who's actually suffering. Okay. And I don't want to say you're gloating like, ha, 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 serves you right, screw you, F you. No, no, no. I mean, you're not like that, Capricorn, are you? I hope not. I'm hoping, like a lot of visitors on Tarot Lumination, you're highly sophisticated. You already know a lot about the tarot. You already know a lot about astrology. You've done huge amounts of homework on yourself already. And you're just here at Tarot Lumination just to get a little bit more of a spin on it. That's all. So you're not gloating, okay? You understand what I was talking about earlier here for you. And so in this situation, you might be dealing with someone, like, even if it's over a long-term period, where the reality check for that other person is that deep, deep down, even if this has been a very sudden thing, or it's been simmering for a long time, and it could be very deeply felt wounds of pains of betrayal and suffering, treachery, deceit that they have received been on the receiving end of the Capricorn energy. In such a way that it was very deeply painful, to the point where it's just like, it's not even worth being here anymore. There was a lot of sensation of pain and suffering and betrayal in a significant other. And that's their business, okay? Maybe that's no concern of yours at all, because you're quite happy the way things are. And it's almost like, thank God. Maybe you're glad to be well out of this situation. Maybe like you're glad this is all over and resolved, and maybe you're feeling like, well, they deserve to suffer. They're getting everything that they deserved. Because sometimes, like, the energy of betrayal, treachery, and lies and deceit that we endure within ourselves can actually be a reflection of the same kind of treacherous energy that we might have radiated to others, and it's just coming back now. So this significant other over here may be just literally living out their truth and their reality right now, that maybe they're just getting what they deserve. And they may have had a very deeply loving connection with you. There may have been a massive heart energy connection with you, dear Capricorn. But it turned into something very devastating and painful and crushing. And that's just how it is. And Again, that's not your problem. It's just that's their energy, that's their problem. And we're not going to let it affect the reading, okay? So let's not shed any tears here. This is the other party, okay? They might have their own misery and suffering to endure, and that's part of what goes on within the context of a significant relationship where two parties have chosen to share their energy to the best of their abilities, and things happened where the other party ends up like this. Whether it was, well, nobody plans for this, but if this is the end situation for the other party, it's kind of tragic for the other party. And you might be feeling, well, I'm glad it's over, kind of thing. And it gives you a sense of liberty and freedom to move on, which is fine. And you don't have to carry their feelings of pain or shame or guilt on yourself or anything. That's their business, okay? So they might have already moved on. It's just that deep inside of themselves, there's a very, very, very painful scar that's probably not going to go away for a long, long time. Okay? Simply because we're dealing with the Pluto in Capricorn transition. And so we're dealing with very long-term, deep, heavy, transformational energy. Okay? Let's go deeper inside of you. What's going on? Whoa. Well, it might indicate, Capricorn, that this is about time that you completely restructured your life in a way that has let's say, a higher degree of order and understanding than you ever had before. And maybe you came into this position or this condition through a very, very painful process. In other words, you might have actually gone through an extremely painful but very strange breakup that happened in a very sort of incremental way, to the point where you realized, okay, well, yeah, I might have left someone else in a lot of pain, but this is what happens in relationships, and perhaps it's just a question of accepting that this is how it is. And so when going deeper inside of you, Capricorn, it's almost like you have come to a much higher degree of understanding where you can now almost like, what's the word? What I'm trying to say is that you have a much higher degree of understanding of the code of life, so to speak. I don't know if you're an adherent to any particular code of life, like a religious philosophy or a religious background, or like a code. Like some people live by the Bible, some people live by the Quran, some people live by like spiritual books, like laws of attraction books. Some people have all these different codes about how to live and how to do it and why and so on. And deep down, I'm feeling two energies here. One, that you are wishing and hoping that you can lock it down so that you have a really solid, stable structure and understanding of how life really works from here onwards, having gone through something that was very devastating for another person. But you've come out the other side and you're moving on okay, and you've learned a tremendous amount, and it might have been a very humbling experience to come to this degree of understanding about how life actually works. I'm talking about universal laws, universal truths, unequivocal laws that apply to everybody, not just your truth or their truth or subjective truth over here or there. I'm talking about universal laws and codes and understandings about life and energy in the universe and everything. And that this could be very, very good news for you, even though it might have occurred through a very painful circumstance. So in a very kind of almost, I don't know what to, it's not perverse, but in a very, very, you know how people like learn a lot through conflict and pain and suffering and challenge? This is something through which you might have endured for quite a while, perhaps several years, and it is now unequivocally crushed and broken and over. And however painful that might have been for the other person, and they might have endured a lot of pain and taken on that pain unwittingly in order for your own growth and welfare, for you to come into this into this sense of awareness of higher knowledge and wisdom and understanding about the codes of life and how they really, really work. It's just that there's really no chance for repair to go back, because the learning process was, let's say, brutal and perhaps at the expense of a significant other. And in the process, they have learned their own lessons too. So it might be very wise that you, keep to your own energy and understand that they have their own energy to deal with. And if they are enduring a very, very deeply buried wound, then that's their problem. Okay, that's their stuff. This is your relationship about you in a significant relationship with a significant other, and it might mean that there's a breakup, or there has been a breakup, but this is actually a good thing. Okay, so let's have a look at the other now, going deeper. Okay, well, at least in the other, they discovered like some of their own sense of self-worth. This is the little Three of Pentacles, where it's, from my perspective, in this particular reading, it's about how your significant other here, or this very significant other in your life, deep down, came to understand their own self-worth to themselves and others. And it's unequivocal, pardon me, in that however painful, how deeply painful it might have been for them to endure a certain relationship dynamic with you, dear Capricorn, deep, deep down, they know that this was a good thing, no matter how painful, because they came to an understanding of how much they really are worth to themselves and other people. But it happens to be, sadly for them, outside of the context of this significant relationship. So in other words, they've come out of it with something. It might have been a very, very painful way for them to grow and evolve. Just in the way that you're growing and evolving in your own manner here, they are growing and evolving in their own manner here. It was just through the process of pain to get to the point now where, okay, it's very possible that they can move on, having been very, let's say, broken or brokenhearted. But it's not the end of the world, because deep down they understand that everything is exactly as it should be, and because it can't be any other way. Those are just the laws of physics. So in other words, it's almost like it's none of your business, Capricorn, what's going on with them and their misery and pain and heartbreak and betrayal, because they might have learned a tremendous amount through the experience, and it allows them to become more skilled and more capable at who they are and more valuable to themselves and others in the world going forward, even if it's not with you. Okay, so even though you might have had something that was very, very profound and very, very shared in this kind of way, and it's broken for whatever reasons, which we're not going into here because there's no indication of the how or the why, where this is essentially broken and over, you are still intact, okay? And ultimately, they are intact and they will be intact. It's just that we're going through something here, and it's good for everybody, okay? It sounds horrible, like poor them, because yeah, maybe they deserved it, like a karmic kickback or something. But on the other hand, you're probably very aware of the same energy yourself, because you're in a relationship here. So even though you might not be experiencing this directly inside of yourself, you're very, very aware of the pain of what happened through treachery, betrayal, lies, deception, fraud, deceit of oneself and the other in the context of a significant relationship. All right, let's just look at the status, see what happens, because this might be history and you might be already moving on, or you might be still in the thick of it at the deep soul level and still trying to integrate and heal and move on. Let's have a look. Okay, wow. Okay, so with the Ten of Pentacles here, it might indicate, I mean, I don't want to, like, there's a whole other way you could, like, there's other, I mean, other tarot readers might read this in a completely different way. I'm just giving you my spin on it here. My feeling is that you're getting what you deserve, dear Capricorn. This is the Ten of Discs. It's like the card of having it all, okay? And maybe you've just endured something that was incredibly stressful, incredibly challenging, and you're coming out the other side of it with a whole new sense of protocols and understandings and a whole new code of life where you are much, much wiser, much more aware, much more like true to yourself. In other words, like the codes of life that apply to everybody are now the same codes to which you adhere. And there's no ambiguity. There's no separation. You're not saying, well, actually life works this way, and someone else is saying, actually, no, it works this way. No, it works this way because this is how it works for everybody, okay? It's like the laws of the universe. And in so doing, coming to this new and higher awareness and understanding of yourself deep inside, the relationship has extreme high value, okay? Even if it meant that the relationship is over, devastation, broken, and gone for the other party. And let's say they're not even a part of this anymore at all. The relationship itself still had tremendous value, okay, in its own way, that worked for you in its own way, and it still has value because of the legacy of the relationship, even though it might be broken, and it will continue to have great value for the long term because of the very profound lessons about how life really works that occurred in the context of this very significant relationship. So I hope that makes sense for you. I hope I'm not touching any hot buttons or hurting your feelings here, but there's something, despite intense pain and suffering for another party, there's something profoundly good that is coming out of this for you in your reading about Capricorn, for your relationship with a particular significant other, whoever that is. Tarot Illumination does not know. I don't know who it is, but I'm hoping this little report makes sense in some way on the broad side. So where does this leave you? Okay, well, it leaves you realizing now, going forward, you have to be much more careful. You cannot ever, ever, ever allow yourself to, okay, this is the Seven of Swords. This is the card of thinking smarter, working smarter, being smarter. Some people see it as the card of betrayal, the card of deception, the card of theft. Okay. Now, my feeling here is I have different perspectives on this, in that you've come out of this okay somehow or other. The status is that there is something very, very, very valuable in this relationship, even if it doesn't exist anymore because it's broken beyond repair. And one of the most valuable things, one of the very, very most valuable things to come out of it is that you never, ever betray another again. You never betray yourself. You never, ever lie, cheat, or steal again. You never allow that to happen to you, okay? You're now acutely aware of the energy of very, very deeply buried, very, very subtly executed betrayal, deception, lies, deceit, which ends up in this kind of crippling, heartbreaking pain for yourself. Please understand that in relationships, we're dealing a lot about reflection here. This is your relationship reading for you. However, please understand that there's a very strong possibility that you have also endured a lot of this yourself as it is being reflected back to you from a significant other. So it's not as though you're just coming out of this clean and clear without any pain and damage or suffering. The chances are that you experienced something very similar yourself, as though you had been very deeply betrayed by another, deeply crushed and hurt by another. And that's simply a reflection of your own original behavior, which is a very profound lesson to learn. And I almost wish I hadn't said it like that, but that's kind of what I'm feeling here. In other words, because some of the worst things that happen in relationship is betrayal. It's deception, especially deception of self, that turns into deception of others, which turns into very, very ugly situations. So in a way, it's a beautiful outcome where you get to move on, understanding that, full understanding of how much pain and damage and suffering can occur just from even the most subtle, especially some of the most devious and subtle betrayals and deceptions, which are ultimately self-serving in the beginning, but ultimately are very destructive in the end. So it's a really, really, really kind of good reading in terms of an awakening. It just might have happened in a way that might have not have been so much fun. It's amazing how much evolution can occur in the context of a very loving relationship. It's actually possible for evolution to occur in the context of a loving relationship. I know it sounds strange, but it can happen. You don't always have to learn all your life lessons through deep pain and conflict and suffering. This does exist, okay? This does exist, Capricorn. It may not be here right now, but it is there. It does exist. It just might be a very painful lesson to have reached that understanding, okay? So I hope you get something out of it. Reinterpret however you want. Watch for your sun, your moon, your rising. Watch for the introduction video. Watch for the behind the scenes video, and have a super July, okay? Awesome, Capricorn. Thanks for visiting. Bye-bye.